Hey everyone, Sam here in the TAP shop as usual, doing a quick tutorial with the PSE EVL32. Now we're using this bow as our demonstration model just to show you some tightening and loosening tips for our products. We have side stabilizer mounts, QDs, a variety of other things that require a really good overall setup to begin with so that they function as they're designed to. It's important to use the right process. It's important to use the right tools. I strongly suggest that to people. I always say that tools matter in terms of how these products will function. Now, don't make any mistake here. These products are designed to be very strongly bonded together once tightened properly. So that means that once tightened the way they're designed to be, they won't be that easy to loosen. And that's good because in the field we don't want that to happen. So if you were to follow the process I suggest here and tighten these down correctly to start, you might find that they are difficult in some cases to loosen. Certainly on the fly in the field it wouldn't really be very feasible to do. And that shouldn't be something you would need to do anyway. You want these to stay tight from the beginning. So what we have here right now is our side stabilizer mount. You can see this module here is loose. So I'll show the process of tightening that portion in, and then I'll show what you would do to loosen it. This one involves our T30 Torx titanium alloy screws. They're black anodized, so people might mistake them for steel, but they are in fact titanium. They do use a T30, it's a Torx head, bit, or a tool to do the tightening work and the loosening work. Now again, these will seize up at times. They will bind tightly. It's just the nature of what we have here. It's the nature of the design. So I suggest that you put your bow into a very secure fixture of some kind. I use a bench vise with wood blocks. You could use a vise, of course, that is designed specifically to hold bows. I believe this probably holds more tightly than any vise that I've ever seen in terms of what might be designed just for bows, simply because of the overall size and weight of this vise. It's very large, and it holds down really well. With the wood blocks, you will not, I repeat, not have any marring or any damage to your bow because the wood is softer and it will not affect the anodizing or the material itself. I've done this hundreds and hundreds of times. So let's look at what we would do to tighten this. So this is, now remember, as pointed out in other videos, as pointed out on the product itself when you get it, it has an orange decal that says left-hand thread with an arrow that points to this particular joint. That one is the only out of the 3 screws that is in the side stabilizer mount. That's the only one that is left-hand thread. The one that goes into the riser, it holds it against the riser here, that's right-hand thread. The one on the bottom here is right-hand thread. But this one is left. So we must remember that in this case, right loosens and left tightens, not as what we're typically used to where right would tighten and left would loosen. So as you can see, I'm turning right. That's actually bringing the screw out. So turn left, screw tightens. And we have it literally tightened in now. So at this point, if you're actually setting this up for the first time, this would be where you would tighten it to the point that it's almost 100%, maybe you get it to 75% tight. And then you put your stabilizer in, you're looking at your initial setup, you're looking at your initial angle that you're trying to get with that, and then you tighten down. I already know what I would want to do with this bow. I'm just showing you what I recommend for tightening fasteners. Now I'm using a 3/8 inch drive socket wrench. 3/8 inch, yep. I'm using a 1/4 inch adapter and then a 1/4 inch drive bit. You could use a 1/4 inch drive wrench. You'll get sufficient torque with that too. This just so happens to be what I have on hand right now, and it works really well. So put this in here. The bow being held securely, very tightly like this, provides the ability to not rotate as you're applying torque. It won't move. So I'm tightening now, again, moving to the left, and you can apply so much torque to that. You have to use common sense. You don't have to overly muscle this to the point that you're not even sure if you can get it loose later. And maybe you would struggle if you overdo it on any type of fastener. Now, I don't have a specific amount of pound-feet that I'm going to give you here and say this is what you should do. Please just use common sense, play with it a little bit, experiment, and find out what is tight enough for you and for your bow. So we tightened. Now, the process of loosening, of course. Now, if you had a 1/4 inch drive and you felt like you still weren't getting sufficient amount of leverage, you could add an extender to your handle, I guess, and give you some additional leverage and additional torque. I don't really think that's probably going to be needed. This 3/8 certainly has long enough. So turn to the right and it loosens. Now for me, I'll go back here, of course, I'll find the angle where I need this bow to be set up at, I'll tighten it down, and at that point, I know it's a set it and forget it situation, it really is. Once they're tight, they stay tight, and that's what we expect. So it's not a defect in the product if you find that it's binding up or it's somehow seized. That isn't really a defect in any way. That's the product doing what we want when tightened as needed to be. You repeat, as a sign off here, let me repeat. The holding of the bow is critical. The tools are absolutely critical. Having clean bits that don't have rounded off edges, another thing. You don't want to strip your heads of your fasteners. Don't think that you're going to be able to hand the bow maybe to somebody and say, hey, hold this for me while I try to turn this. That's not going to work very well. And just don't do it. Don't put the bow on the floor, on a couch, or on a chair and put your knee on it and try to turn it. You're bound to either damage a fastener or your bow or potentially hurt someone. Just do things right. Use the proper tools to hold the bow down and you'll have great results. Stay tapped out, everybody. Make sure you go to titaniumarcheryproducts.com. Go to our Instagram, titanium_archery_products. Just type in Titanium Archery Products in a search box. You'll find our account will pop right up. Facebook, of course, we're also very active on there. People know how to get a hold of us, but just don't forget that I do run it all myself, and it is something that I have a great deal of passion for. So I handle everything in minute detail. If you're talking to someone online, you're emailing, you're calling, you're talking to me, I design it, I build it, I pack it, I ship it. I do everything here. So please be patient if you can, and I appreciate your understanding. Thanks a lot. Take care.